Yo, Shortbox Nation, this is Botter, and I'm here to tell you right now that con season starts early this year with the return of Northeast Florida's premier anime, comic book, and sci-fi event, Collective Con. That's right, Northeast Florida's largest pop culture convention returns for its 10th year on March 8th through the 10th at the Prime Osborne Center in Jacksonville, Florida. 10 years of Collective Con, they're pulling all the stops out to make sure this is a can't-miss event. And the guest list they got going, don't even get me started on the guest list. I mean, they've got A-list celebrity guests and voice actors from some of your favorite movies, anime, and video games like Elijah Wood and Sean Ashton, Ray Park, Trisha Helfer, Ross Marquand, Max Middleman, and Bo-Katan herself will be there, Katie Sackhoff. Tell me what other convention is giving you the opportunity to meet Frodo and Sam from Lord of the Rings, Darth Maul, and One Punch Man all under the same roof. Only at Collective Con. And if you're looking to get some of your favorite comics signed, or if you want to get an original sketch from some of the best comic artists in the world, well, you're in luck, because there'll be plenty of comic and creator guests there, like DC comic artist extraordinaire Clay Mann, Harvey Award-nominated illustrator John Taylor Christopher, Marvel and DC cover artist Chris Stevens, and acclaimed Star Wars author Timothy Zahn. They'll all be at Collective Con this year. And if you're looking to bring the family, or if you want to make a weekend out of it, you're in luck, because there'll be so much going on at Collective Con that weekend in the form of vendors, fan panels, video game tournaments, cosplay contests, after parties, and a bunch of fan events. You can purchase single and 3-day weekend passes now using the link in this episode's show notes, or by going to collectivecon.com to book your tickets and hotel. Buy your tickets now, and I'll see you at Collective Con, March 8th through the 10th. Now let's start the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Short Box Podcast.
The Short Box Podcast is recorded live from Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
Remind me, is this a normal episode or a bonus episode? What is this?
It's a bonus episode. It'll go on Patreon tomorrow, and then on the main feed on Wednesday. But I won't do my usual intro, all that stuff. So to answer your question, will you be heard by literally hundreds? Yes. Yes, you will.
Yes, I will.
Yes, you will. And people will be clamoring because Blythe killed it on the Black Panther episode, and I got a few DMs like, yo, need to get Blythe on more.
Damn.
Superstar.
No, I saw that.
That.
I saw that. I believe that.
Tony and Adrian. That was it.
and a guy named Heidelberg. He was like, yo. And then Sergeant White too. So I'll have you know. All right. How about we start off with a little warm up real quick.
Warm it up, baby. You know, I like to be warmed up before I do anything. So.
I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I counted 10 trailers in that opening. That was a lot of trailers, right?
Yeah, unbelievable. But
so
I gotta say,
every single one of them.
Which one stood out though? Which one like really got your attention and has you hyped?
Legitimately, Scream, because he did what trailers should do and what they used to do. It was like 8 seconds long. It didn't show you the whole goddamn movie.
That's fair.
Which is what every trailer does now. It was literally like Scream, showed them like scared to death, and then it said this date. All the other trailers, literally, I knew what happened in this movie because the trailer is like 4 minutes long for no reason, and it shows you every detail. I'm so sick of that shit.
That is a big reason why I'll watch the first trailer for like a lot of these MCU movies, and then I'm usually pretty good because your point, they are really long, and these movies so far haven't really broken the mold enough for you to like not kind of piece together things from just the trailer. I'll say this, for the most part, this movie wasn't that surprising, surprising from the trailers. Okay, so you were hyped for Scream. Blythe, there's any outside of Indiana Jones, because I know that's going to be your go-to.
Why are you still my thunder? Give me my chance.
Because if anyone knows you,
this platform.
If anyone knows you, they're like, well,
about my brand.
But Botter literally says, Blythe, what about you? Other than the thing you're obviously going to say, go ahead.
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I was like, should I wear my costume to the premiere or not? Is what I was thinking while I was watching it.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you know what? There might be some folks listening right now that's like, no, what is her favorite movie?
Indiana Jones, hands down. Had a crush on Harrison Ford since I was 4 years old. Used to invite my friends over for a sleepover and made them watch Temple of Doom just so I could watch the reaction when the heart gets torn out of the guy's chest. Amazing. I still remember it to this day.
And for a lot of friends, that was the last sleepover they went to the Brumleys. They were like, Mommy,
All I remember is just a lot of screaming and covering their ears and running from the room. It's amazing.
They were like, Mommy, she wants to dig in the dirt. Archaeology.
Oh my God. Did you write down all the trailers? Remind me. I don't even remember. There was so many.
65.
We had okay, so we had Scream, we had Air Jordan, we had John Wick 4, which I think that one gets the vote for me. John Wick, and this is going to be the finale. I think they're going to really kill it. We had 65 with Adam Driver, which looks like Land Before
dinosaur
Time.
movie.
Pretty
like
interesting.
Dangerous dinosaurs.
Yeah, I like it.
We had Flash, which I'm still flabbergasted that this guy is getting like his movie. Like James Gunn and Warner Brothers is like, maybe they'll forget about all the fucked up shit you've done.
Yo, so literally, I'm glad you said
spent
that.
so much money on this movie. We gotta
No, literally, the trailer came on, and I'm sitting there with my wife Emily, and she goes, "They seriously letting this guy make a movie? Like they're still letting him make a movie?"
That's the guy they kept.
Yeah,
Out of everyone.
Unbelievable.
Wow, that is really well said. They got rid of Hope with Henry Cavill and a fan outcry.
Gal Gadot.
The man quit his job with Witcher
Announced it on Instagram.
to come over, and they're like, "Nah, I think we're gonna stick with the scumbag." All right, no, we already sunk a lot of money into this, and I think we can get away with Michael Keaton as Batman. I think
they're
that'll
like,
fool
but we got
people.
Michael Keaton on board. I think we got to just drop it, guys. I mean,
All right, so Flash, Fast 10.
Jesus, can we? Is this the last one? Can we just put a nail in this coffin, please?
Here's the thing. I would have told you the last one was 9 and 8 and 7. They always feel like that is the last one.
But don't they
So-
make a ridiculous amount of money?
They do. I was literally laughing during that trailer because it feels like a Saturday Night Live skit at this point. He's like, "You can't break up family." It's like, bro, we understand. That shit's killing me. They're not even that bad. It's just hilarious. Come
And
on.
at some point, one like 5'4" guy is going to come in and race them and win because there's no way that these big dudes can keep winning like this.
And I'm gonna once again, I'm going to have my ass planted in the theater watching it because they always give me because it's a spectacle. It is truly a popcorn movie. All right, so you had Fast 10, Dungeons and Dragons. We also got that trailer, which looked pretty fun.
I thought it looked cute.
Yeah, it looks fun.
I had no idea it was Dungeons and Dragons until the very end, and I thought, oh, I'm definitely seeing this.
It seems good. Yeah.
Indiana Jones, Elementals, which was another one that I thought did a good job of
Looks
like not
cute.
giving you much, right?
I like a Pixar movie, guys. Come on.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
yeah. Cool.
I think it's just that one. I feel like that one's going to be emotional. I feel like that one's going to be like an emotional goodbye. And
Yeah,
hopefully they land. Hopefully they land or they stick the landing.
No, I like those movies a lot. I've seen enough of him, and I'm just kind of tired of his face.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
He,
Fair.
I mean, he's kind of a one-trick pony. I can't believe he's Mario. Just getting kind of sick of him. I don't know. It's just kind of whatever.
That's fair. All right. Chris Pratt beef over here. All right. I think we are properly warmed up. Let's go ahead and welcome the listeners into our world. Yo, Short Box Nation. Welcome to a special bonus episode, all right? You guys know that we love doing our comic reviews. We love doing artist spotlights. We'll do the occasional interview. And then every now and then we do these bonus episodes where we do a movie review because our whole goal is to talk about how great comic books are and how they've inspired pop culture. And in today's day and age, a large part of that inspiration within pop culture is on the big screen in the MCU, all right? So if the title didn't give you a hint already, we are here to talk about Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania. That said, it should come as no surprise, there's going to be a lot of spoilers. So if you haven't watched the movie, we're going to be talking a lot about key plot points, and we're just going to spoil the movie in general. So if you haven't watched the movie and you don't want it ruined for you, just stop right here. Come back. Look, we're going to be talking about Kang. I made this joke last week. I'll make it again because I thought it was really good. You've got all the time in the world to come back to this podcast, all right? So thank you, Warren. I appreciate that. Life is nodding your head like, God, I cannot believe it. So once again, spoiler warning. But if you've watched the movie, then you're about to have a good time. Should also come as no surprise, my guest co-host today, we've got Blythe Brumley back with us, ladies and gents. And I got to give a round of applause for that, all right? Got to give the round of applause. Some of you, when you guys listen to the Black Panther one, she doesn't believe me, but I got a few DMs saying, yo, bring Blythe back for more of these. So you know who you are.
Shout out to y'all.
Hydraberg, Tony, Adrian. Me, all right, that's important too.
Warren,
boom. Okay, yeah, we'll keep going on. You know, if you're listening right now and you're excited that Blythe is back on the show, go ahead and send me email or DM so I could show her and prove her wrong, right? And of course, we've got this man had to, I had to drag him back behind the mic because he's just been vacationing from podcasting. I think he quit. I don't know. I that's the rumor mill. But I got my man Warren Evans, aka Bart of Darkness, aka the host of Sentence is Greater Than.
Come on, baby.
What up, Warren?
Let me hear that applause. Come on. I know everybody's clapping at home too. Okay, he stopped. All right. It's good to be back, dude. It's nice to be back behind a mic. And, I just got to step away to remind them what they're missing once in a while. I just got to make them, I got to leave them wanting more and wondering where I am.
You know what? Honestly, and that shit tends to work because when you do come back, your episodes blow up, and I'm sitting here like, God damn, I do this shit every week. And y'all just, you're right. A long vacation is forthcoming.
There you go.
All right. Shortbox Nation, that's the panel for today, right? A strong panel. We all went to go see the movie together. We literally got done for the movie, about 30 minutes ago? We raced home, warmed up the mics, and we are ready to talk. I already got I wrote notes in the theater in the dark.
Gotta have the notes. I bet that handwriting's looking real good on there.
You know what? It's getting better. The more I practice taking notes in a dark theater, the better I'm getting, so I don't forget this stuff. All right, so this conversation is beginning in 3, 2, 1. You have now entered the spoiler quantum realm, the quantum spoiler realm.
Nice, Potter. That was good.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yo, I don't know if you are if you're promoting good things or bad jokes. I don't know, but anyways. How about we start off with the end credits? Because I think when we did our Black Panther, we waited to the very last minute. And I think that is the most probably freshest thing on our minds, maybe those that are listening. What was your immediate reaction to any of the two stingers and post credits that we got? Blythe, did you like anyone in particular?
I mean, obviously the Loki appearance for me. If you asked me before the movie what happened in Loki, actually, I think I told you this, that I was trying to explain what happened in Loki to my dad the other night, and I couldn't really explain it because there's been so much content. But seeing that again and seeing Owen Wilson's character there as well, I was like, okay, this is going to be really good because Kang was the shining star, I think, of the movie. I think everybody's going to have that opinion from this movie, and being able to see him in another movie with characters that I like a little bit more, I think is going to be enticing for me. I
think there was an audible gasp when Tom Hiddleston was on screen. I think someone to the right was like, and I was like, yeah, I felt that. I was like, yeah, damn, that's a good looking motherfucker, man. He's back. And fucking Owen Wilson as Mobius. I think I definitely get time cop buddy vibes. The first Loki season kind of felt like that a little bit, but I think they're really going to lean in on their relationship and then maybe time hopping. And one thing about that stinger that really stuck with me that I felt throughout the whole entire movie is the sense of danger that these characters feel for Kang, like this looming air of danger to him that necessarily you don't see usually at first sight, like you just see it through the characters. And I got that vibe with Loki. Like when Mobius is like, is this a guy that you were talking about? And he's like, yo, he's fucking, don't let them glasses fool you.
No.
Well,
all right.
Real quick, is that character based on the one that Kang is playing? Is he kind of inspired by, I guess, the early version of Nikola Tesla?
I think that's a safe bet. Victor Timely. I think that'd be a safe bet. Like someone that's a scientist that's also like a showman and all that. I think that's a safe bet. That's the vibe I got from it. Warren, what about you, man?
I agree with Blythe. Happy to see Loki. I was a big fan of Quantum Leap growing up, and I get that same sort of idea where it's like, they're going to be bouncing around. We're going to see them in different outfits, different eras. And that kind of stuff gets me excited because, like Blythe said as well, I think that'll be a little more interesting. Not that I didn't like this movie, but that obviously is a little more to my taste. So I totally agree.
Now, any thoughts on the immediate post-credit scene where we get to see the Council of Kang and really understand that Jonathan Majors is getting 20,000 checks for all these different versions?
Yeah, I mean, immediate thought, my man can do multiple styles of that voice. So that was very good.
And there's like thousands of them hyping each other up.
Did you guys catch, all right, maybe my eyes were fucking with me, but when they pan to the last bit of that end credit, and they're showing all the different Kangs in the auditorium or the arena, they're on the floor level, and multiple versions of them are popping out of like the portals. There looked like one that was like in a boxing kind of.
Man,
right?
I totally missed that.
Damn.
But I want to see that movie.
A boxing king.
Because especially when he's fighting Ant-Man in the movie, I got the vibe like, oh, you don't want to have this fight.
Oh my God, he was whooping my man's ass. Can we just say that?
He was.
I mean,
I was thinking like, oh, he's using that Creed training. Like he was filming these fight scenes during his Creed training. But I think one of those kings that showed up at the end of that end credit might have been maybe a funny Easter egg based on like him being a boxer and fucking.
Is that a Disney movie?
Creed.
I like that.
Is Creed a Disney movie
I don't think so.
or
but
a Disney franchise?
I don't think so. But
They own everything.
Honestly, who knows? It probably is.
I think the main takeaway is that if Kang was supposed to, it was the big baddie in this movie, if he gave Ant-Man and Wasp this much trouble, then this Council of Kang, which they're including a lot of his other aliases, like Ramu Tut was the one with the Egyptian pharaoh headdress. He has another alias as the Scarlet Centurion, which I think is the more robot one that we saw, the other one that it was kind of giving him the eye.
Yeah.
And then you've got Immortus, which is to me, I got lizard vibes from him, but like he was the one in the cloak and had the very like edgy voice.
He was Palpatine. I mean, come on, he was Palpatine. That's fine.
Well, my mind went to Mortal Kombat. I was like, this motherfucker these look like some Mortal Kombat characters at this point.
Yeah,
you got the cyborg, you got the Emperor, and then you've got
I mean, once again, I just want to emphasize how badly he was whooping my man's ass. Like he didn't give him a 2-piece; he gave him a fucking bucket with a side of biscuits. I mean, it was kind of embarrassing.
He gave him the whole KFC restaurant.
Straight up,
you're
all you
right
can eat
about
buffet.
That.
He was giving it to him.
To my man Scott Lang's credit, this is probably the most heroic and serious I've like gotten to appreciate him. He really shined as like a hero and like also like as posing a threat too. I've never seen him go like this. Brawl this hard.
Yeah, he didn't run away from it either. He wanted
breaks that ass whooping.
Yeah.
All right. So we got the end credit scenes out the way. Hopefully that satisfies anyone that that immediately wants to know that. Let's go on and talk about the movie overall. Blythe, tell me some of the emotions, the thoughts you have about the movie, having just finished it. How do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest, like walking into this movie, we were watching a recap video last night, 30 things you got to know before you see Ant-Man. And I got to tell you, I totally forgot his daughter's name. I forgot Hope's name. A lot of these characters are very forgettable to me, and just getting it all out there. But the second the movie started with Michelle Pfeiffer's character like walking out and they're in this like the quantum realm and it just looks fascinating. I'm like, okay, this is my vibe. That was my overall opinion of this movie. Is I'm coming in to watch it mainly for Jonathan Majors, and then everything else is just kind of a bonus. Because I've never really been the biggest Ant-Man fan. I thought he's definitely more of like a side character to me, not somebody that I'm necessarily going to go to the theaters and watch his movies. But I do really find like the quantum realm fascinating. And so and plus Jonathan Majors, that really is what drew me in. And I got to say that those were my biggest winners. The quantum realm itself, just seeing the landscape and the mushrooms and the fungi and all the interesting characters and seeing all of that. Plus Kang finally, I thought was really great.
Okay, good stuff. Warren, what about you, man? Give me a few words.
I think the Ant-Man movies are good. Like, I think they're very fun. Everyone loves Paul Rudd. I mean, it's impossible not to love Paul Rudd.
It really is. It's a very likable
Yeah, he's just so likable. But this movie, while my initial reaction was not that it was my favorite Ant-Man movie, because, again, they're sort of forgettable characters, but this space for him and, like, this sort of having these places to go as characters and make them more of a major part of the story definitely did keep my interest. And I love seeing these otherworldly, like, I mean, everything is like a bug version. Like you have like slug horses and like, all these little weird things. That's always going to get me because that is the weird that I'm attracted to in these sort of stories. So I found myself enjoying that a lot.
I'll give it A+ for being a visual spectacle. I mean, it was really, it kept your attention for such a street level character. Like in the first two movies, it's really more like a heist, like it's a comedic heist movie. Now you're thrusting him like really hard left into the like sci-fi realm of things, and you're seeing him in a landscape that you haven't really gotten to see him. I mean, granted, you've seen him do time travel. You saw him in Endgame, like help the Avengers, with time travel, but to see him in like this very heavy futuristic sci-fi world, I thought was really interesting. A little like sometimes jarring at times. I felt like sometimes things were too weird for me to like feel invested emotionally in, like especially with the overall like rebellion. I just thought shit was too weird to feel like I cared. I was more intrigued, like, oh, this just looks really cool, but I'm not emotionally invested in.
Botter, you weren't emotionally invested in that little goo guy? I mean, come on, bro. That's like, I love him.
The holes joke, I don't know, man.
He likes what he doesn't understand, Botter. He doesn't have any holes. Come on.
And he can wipe your chin very easily.
Yeah.
But you gotta drink his fucking guts, his blood. I swear, this movie was really weird. It was really weird, but I think I land on it being a good kind of weird. It definitely got me out of my comfort zone. I don't know. It got me out of my comfort zone. And I feel like if you are a fan of like Guardians or where like Thor has been recently, I don't know. It reminded me of Thor Ragnarok big time.
Yeah,
with the rebellion. Thor being kind of thrust into that like world of different aliens. That's what I felt like. Like this was Ant-Man's like Ragnarok, but he doesn't need to be. Additional humor doesn't need to be injected because it's kind of always been a pretty funny, like witty movie.
Yeah, Bill Murray felt kind of pointless. I got to be honest.
I agree.
I just forgot he was in the movie until you said that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of pointless characters, I know Life was not a fan of one character in particular, and that is our guy.
Face.
Well, face is a funny word, but MODOK or Derek. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Is it Derek or Darren?
Darren.
Yeah. Corey Stoll's character.
Hated
MODOK.
it. I thought it there was so much, I think, of the world that was, like you said, a good kind of weird, but seeing that face over and over again, it just completely took me out of it. And I was just starting to get mad seeing him on screen.
I mean, I gotta say, I think he played the character correctly, and it felt sincere to what I think people that love MODOK as a character wanted exactly what he did.
I can see Ed right now. When he goes to watch that movie, he's going to get a fucking giggle out of it.
However,
a chuckle out of that.
However, I know these movies cost way too much money, and I know that CGI could have been a little bit better on my man's face. I'm just going to say that I immediately, every time that I stared at his face, I was like, yeah, I mean, it's just his face CG generated and stretched into the shape. It did not feel real. And I know these movies cost millions of dollars to make. I know y'all can do that. I mean, I've seen video games impress me more with the graphics in that regard.
Warren, you know what they did? They dragged the corner. They ain't hold shift to get like proportionate stretch.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, there is going to be a MODOK filter on Instagram tomorrow that probably looks realer than that did.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that terrible, but there were moments where I was like, this is kind of weak.
If they would have shown him a fourth of the screen time that he got, I think it would have went over a lot more. But they tried to make him into, like, especially at the end, like a sentimental character, and I was just glad that he died.
Oh, not you
Goodbye.
rooting on fucking MODOK's
face.
character arc. I will admit, I enjoyed MODOK from the sense that they were able to recycle. Some would call him a throwaway villain. I guess that's a safe bet. But the fact they were able to recycle this villain and kind of have him play this role, and it wasn't too much a far stretch. Like, it did connect to the first movie pretty well.
But Kang is the villain.
I know.
Kang is the villain. I don't care about this.
Every good villain's got, the lackey / henchman, right hand man.
They were all worthless.
Well, let me ask you this, Bob. I mean, is there? Because obviously there's a lot of things I don't know. What is his actual origin? Like, is his actual origin so, like, unsound that they're able to just do that and make that and just like, oh, it's actually this guy. Remember him? Or does he have like a very distinct origin?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know his origin off the top of my head, but I know.
Wow, and you have a comic book podcast. Oh my god! I'll see you guys later.
I'm sorry, I don't know every single origin story. Hyper quick Google search. What is MODOK origin story? Super genius intelligence, possessed one of the most brilliant minds on the planet. He was created by AIM, sacrificing his body for one of the world's largest brains. So scientists sacrifices his body for science, becomes a killing machine. Which is kind of similar.
It works, yeah, it's fine.
All right, let's continue down this list of characters. All right, let's just focus on characters. So we got MODOK out the way before fucking King the Conqueror.
You mean face?
Yeah, face.
Then there's the no-face henchman, also worthless.
Yo, this is Botter. Sorry for interrupting this episode, but I'll keep it brief. I wanted to let you know about a massive sale we have going on over at the Shortbox store on all of our merchandise and apparel. That's theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com. You can now save 20% off your entire order using the discount code YOO, Y-O-O. So if you've been waiting for the right time to finally buy that gauntlet snapback, or if you ever wanted to buy any of the shirts you see me wear on the podcast, well, now's your chance to get them for a steal. We still have a few sizes left of everything, but they won't last long, and once they're gone, they are gone. And then I mentioned that all of our apparel is screen printed on high quality material. None of that heat transfer or direct to garment stuff. Our shirts are some of the most comfortable ones you'll ever wear, and the hats look even better in person. So wear your support for the Shortbox Nation proudly, knowing that you're going to look damn good doing it. Get to theshortboxstore.bigcartel.com as soon as you can, and don't forget to use that discount code YOO, Y-O-O, to save 20% off your entire order. All of this information can be found in this episode's show notes if you want to get there faster. Thanks for not pressing fast forward. Now back to the show. What do you mean? Oh, the no face. I will admit, Kang's army was kind of weak. It was like, I don't know, I felt like they were really unimaginative.
They didn't know how to hold prisoners.
Oh my God, I swear I had the same thought. I was like, these are the worst guards in the world. All you got to do is hit them in the knee.
I mean, I would pay to see a battle royale between them and stormtroopers. I mean, I'd love to see what unfolds.
Team stormtroopers all day.
Oh, come on.
All right, while we're on the topic of villains, we might as well go to the man of the hour. I know the hype for this movie was more about Jonathan Majors, how he's going to portray Kang. Is he going to deliver? And I think it's just because we're on the third movie. We've already met, Scott Lang, Hope Van Dyne. We already know the rest of the cast, but I feel like the focus and the hype was mainly for Jonathan Majors. So I'll just bluntly ask, how did he do? How did you guys feel like he did?
Killed it.
He was probably the most compelling character to me.
Oh,
Anytime he was on screen,
he can act his ass off.
I was like, damn, it's taking all of them to even match this man's energy.
Yeah.
One thing he does really well, and maybe my eagle-eyed comic fans will notice, Kang is in the comics is always lounging. He's always lounging in some cool-ass futuristic chair. And I felt that if there's anything that he read from the comics that I think he took body language-wise and delivered, was that.
Oh,
there was a few scenes where he was just
he was posted up.
Posted, sitting, and you could tell contemplating how the fuck do I get off this shitty planet and rule some more? He
really strikes me as someone who really researches a role, and I would be willing to bet if we read interviews about his experience, he would talk about really. I would imagine he really read a lot of the comics or looked at the visuals of that character.
Were any of you surprised that they killed him off? I guess we kind of glossed over that because that was something I wanted to bring up. That for the most part, it seems that they killed him off.
No, he's not dead. It's
you don't think so?
Soap opera rules.
Okay, well, I'm just saying at the end, at the Council of Kangs, they mentioned they killed him. And he's like,
No, if you didn't see a body, it's...
Yeah, because we don't know where he really ended up.
Yeah.
So,
well, the last thing we see is that he bumps into his probability engine, or the multiverse.
Yeah, the neural network.
He goes inside of it.
Yeah, he's not dead.
I guess you got to also question that, so Ant-Man was able to survive the probability storm. Why wasn't Kang able to? I feel like he was misleading.
I think he did. And I think he's just chilling. I think he's building a new empire down there.
Okay. All right, I like that. You heard it here first, folks.
Is it the same variant that's in Loki? That's in this as in Ant-Man?
No, that was a different. They're all different variants.
I thought that was the same variant. No. The Loki at the end of Loki.
He Who Remains.
That variant is the same as this Kang.
Well, they're just a different version of the same. They're all Nathaniel Richards. He Who Remains is a different version or a variant of the same character. So Kang is just a different version. Much like that Council of Kangs, are all the same person, but
I thought that these were the same.
What do you mean?
I thought this was the same variant. I get that there's countless endless variants of Kang, but I thought that those variants were the same.
Oh no. Completely different. I see what you're saying. No, that was He Who Remains. This is Kang. And I know that you'd be like, well, what's his real name? It can't be He Who Remains. So no, that is He Who Remains. The last variant. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. So he's the Kang that beats all the other Kangs.
Yeah, because he says in Loki, all of my variants were fighting each other. I kind of helped, squash the beef. I decided to go ahead and stay here, keep track of the timeline. I mean, that is a very rudimentary like explanation, but yeah, he's like the one that was kind of keeping things tidy, and that's why he warned
And so
Loki
he
and
who
Sylvie.
remains is not one of those three then either.
What do you mean one of those three?
The three with like the pharaoh and
No, he is one of those. That's what I'm saying. They're all
Oh.
just different variants of each other.
So which
That makes
one
sense.
is the?
But is he literally one of those three?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all Nathaniel Richards.
Hold on.
I don't-
Hold on. No. We're leaving all this in the edit also. The three that we saw before we saw all of them.
Yes.
She's asking, is He Who Remains one of those initial three that we saw on screen? In the,
Yes.
And the end credits.
Yes.
Yes, but so is everyone in that arena.
You don't get it.
How am I not getting it?
Is He Who Remains either the robot, the pharaoh?
Oh no, he
or
is
the-
not.
okay.
No, he is
Okay.
not them in particular.
Okay, so he beats them.
I don't know if he beats them because clearly he hasn't done a very good job.
Based on what he did to my
If
man,
he's He Who Remains,
Scott Lang, then yeah, he beat him.
then he does beat them.
Because they do and Loki go to the end of time, and that's who they meet. So yeah, he who remains. It's in the title. But I think once they kill him, they unleash all the other variants of himself: Kang, Immortus, all of them.
Oh.
Yeah, I can definitely see why you would not want to explain this like your dad. You'd be like,
Yeah.
no, Dad, you got to track. Even for me, it's like I feel like I'm barely holding it together. But I think I've just read enough comics where it's like, okay, time travel shit, multiple variants, evil versions.
No, okay, I'm with you.
So, but Jonathan Majors, it sounds like unanimous. I thought he was charismatic. He also has this, he also nails quiet intensity. He can go from just being like heartfelt, like, because when he's talking to Janet, when he first meets her and they're working together to rebuild his ship and all of that, like, you're kind of like, damn, what's up with his, like, he's bad as
No.
the viewer. You're like, oh yeah,
Maybe
he's
it's a good version.
When
yeah,
he
you're like,
when he
maybe
takes
he's got a
beat-
tragic story.
when he takes a beat, you feel it. Like he like does that little. he
Oh,
breathes
yeah,
in,
yeah,
like you
yeah,
really
yeah.
feel that moment. But also, I love
Great
that when he
pregnant pause.
sees Janet, probably, I mean, for the first time, and they have this whole interaction. He says, "What did you see?" He wants to know what she saw way back when she touched his ship. So I just really love their interaction. Also, while we're talking about people that killed it, I thought Michelle Pfeiffer was very good. And may I just say, I still love you, Michelle.
Michelle, if you're listening out there, I can get you in contact with Guy Warren. all
I
right?
loved
He
you
still
when you
loves
were. I loved you when you were Catwoman, and I love you today.
There we go.
So you know.
No, Michelle Pfeiffer absolutely killed it.
Yeah, she did.
I felt like a major theme of this movie was like kind of like secrets, right? Like Cassie was keeping secrets from her dad. Janet was keeping secrets from the whole family about what she was doing in the rebellion and things like that. And she played like troubled soul really well. And now, Grant, I think they took forever to finally get around to Kang. And I get it, like they really had to build it up. And I was getting tired of them just saying like, when he finds you, when he finds, I'm like, God damn it, just show him already, But she killed it, like building up his danger level by just like her mannerism and her expressions. Like anytime that she had to talk about him in hushed tones, you could tell like it was going to be a big deal. But real quick, back to Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. I love that they're playing around with this concept that all of these different variants of Kang of himself think that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
It kind of puts, and we saw it on Scott Lang's face at the end where he's like, yeah, I saved the day. I beat the bad guy. Or wait, did I? He said like something even worse is gonna happen if I don't stop him.
Let me, if I may interrupt. I want to ask though, and I think this is something that's fun to ponder about the movie. Does he actually think he's doing the right thing though? Because he literally, when she asks him, like, why are you doing this? Or like, what are you doing? Whatever. He says, I'm winning. So part of me wonders, like, because there clearly is like, he has a softness.
Mhm.
He wants to help Janet. He is compelled by her story. He doesn't want to like, punish her for no reason. But the moment she's in his way, he's like, no, I will fucking kill you. I am here to win. Now, is he referring to life? Is he referring to all the other Kangs? I think that's pretty ambiguous.
I don't think I think he's a character that's not afraid to be disliked.
Yeah.
And is willing to do the dirty deeds. Because it sounds like his mission is like, I'll kill a whole civilization if need be. But it's because if I don't do this, the bigger threat to the timeline, like the rest of myself are, fucking up the time stream and timeline in major ways that could have way bigger impacts than me killing a couple, a couple thousand or
So
million.
it's his own ego that thinks he's better than the other ones and so forth. It's just a cycle.
I mean, based on the way he was whooping my man Scott Lang's ass, I'm willing to agree with it. You know what I mean?
Real quick, when he can that one moment when he froze Michelle Pfeiffer's character and she couldn't walk, why couldn't he do that to the giant Ant-Man?
Good question.
I was wondering, if everyone, if he just had access to everyone's clothes or something like that.
Maybe because he was behind the rings. Maybe there's only so much he could do from behind the rings. I found that interesting as well.
Or the suit, maybe.
Yeah, I found that interesting as well.
I wish they would have showed a little more scenes of Kang as a ruler, or given us.
Because I was very confused about the civilization. It looks like life is good, except for a small pocket of.
Yeah. All they ever showed us was the cops roughing up some people at a flea market. I'm like, that's not enough for me to really believe that they're in a rough society.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. I felt like they were more focused on showing us the spectacle, weird aliens, rather than I don't know. I mean, the world was believable in that sense. This feels like a different world. Could be like the Quantumania. But I didn't feel like any attachment to the civilization or the rebellion strife. It was like you kind of just had to take it at face value that their life was pretty rough. And Kang is pretty ruthless, so you can imagine, he would do all this stuff. But I kind of wish they would have shown him more as a tyrant, as a ruler.
They definitely could have spent more time on it, because I also felt like I thought this movie would be a little bit longer. Obviously, it's a Marvel movie. It was over 2 hours.
Yeah.
But you'd look at Wakanda Forever, it's almost 3 hours. I would have thought it could have been they could have spent a little more time on Kang. So.
That's fair enough. All right, well, let's talk about the guy that was on the other end of receiving them punches from Kang, as Warren will steady remind us.
Oh, my man was giving it to him now.
And he kicked in the helmet, too. That was like his last goodbye. He was like, oh, you think you're leaving,
Bro, I felt those stomps. That should hurt.
Yeah. Paul Rudd. Let's talk about Paul Rudd playing Scott Lang. How do we feel about Ant-Man in general? Any memorable scenes? Any memorable scenes come up to mind when you think of Ant-Man in the whole entire movie?
I think how quickly he accepts the situation once they are sucked into the quantum realm. The moment he realizes his daughter and his family is there, there's no hesitation. And I like that once he's in there, he doesn't freak out. He just immediately is like, okay, how do I get to her? So I feel like right away, this movie jumps into the plot very quickly. You spend very little time. It's like, oh, let's have dinner. You know what? Let's just fucking show them the thing we've been working on. And then boom, the movie starts. So I really liked that. And I also really liked, you see a little bit of that reluctance to help, because, this is like a trope in all these kind of movies. It's like, yeah, but we got our own problems. We really don't have time to do this. But again, he loves his daughter enough. And once he realizes that she's in danger, nothing else matters. So I think there was some growth. He wasn't as scared to take risks. He wasn't as scared. He didn't need the Avengers to do brave stuff in this movie. I like that.
Well said. And that's what I'm saying. I feel like this was the most heroic that I've seen Ant-Man, where he's always been the jokey character. He's really good for some quips and, playing the jackass. But this one was it gave him a chance to shine as a heroic hero that you took serious, that was also he wasn't a threat, but he wasn't no pushover neither. My favorite scene that comes to mind is when he's in the probability storm.
Oh, that was very good.
Which was super trippy. I was like, damn, if I was on some shit, this would be fucking me
cool
up.
Scene, man. Cool scene.
Yeah, super cool scene. And they still managed to work in some comedic relief with the Baskin Robbins version of him, which I think is just so funny that he would be there helping out. But that was probably my favorite scene, is when they all kind of clicked like ants, right? It was it worked on so many levels. It was you got a character named Ant-Man. There's hundreds of versions of himself, and they're all clicking, much like ants all do, right?
Oh, okay, Botter. I didn't even make that connection, but I see you.
I've been podding for a while.
Yeah, I see you.
Yeah, this is what happens when you do your reps every week.
Oh, yeah. That's true. That's true.
That's what ants do in the wild too. Yeah. They work together in order to reach greater heights.
I think the visual was so cool, and when that happened, and MODOK is like, "How are you doing that?" And it's like, "Well, we're all working towards the same thing." I felt a little prideful. I was like, "All right, there we go."
That was cool. I loved the joke where he had to think about how many holes he had.
Yeah, that was a great joke.
Because how many? I'm sure 99% of his theater were all counting.
Dude, yes. I was counting. He said 7, and he takes a beat and goes, "Oh yeah, that's right."
All right, Blythe, you kind of shook your head a little bit when I brought up Ant-Man. How you feeling about Ant-Man? You got
I just think I love Paul Rudd in small doses. He's just kind of like a Will Ferrell for me. that I like him in his small dose role. I think him as part of the greater cast was really well put together. I didn't really feel a lot of chemistry, though. I don't know if the chemistry is the right word, but the relationship between him and his daughter, I kind of just felt like, eh.
Well, I mean, if we were to shoot him some bail, I think a big part of this movie was trying to regain like all these years lost.
Yes.
So that it makes sense that like they're a little disattached.
I'll hit you with a spicy take. Sorry, Blythe. I felt way more chemistry between him and his daughter than I do him and
Agreed.
Hope.
Agreed.
I think him and Hope have zero chemistry, and may I say, worst character in the movie. She didn't do shit.
I actually love her.
In
Not
this
like
movie?
the character,
Oh,
but
okay.
just Evangeline Lilly. Like,
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
loved
yeah.
her since the Lost Days.
Same. Yeah, I normally really like her. I just felt like in this movie, she did basically nothing.
I will admit, when she came back through the portal to save the day, I thought it was going to be Cassie, taking that risk
Sure.
and saving her dad. So when she came through and saved the day, I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's cool that she, has this moment. But a part of me did feel like, did they squeeze this in to remind us, like, hey, remember, they're
Felt the
married.
Same thing. Yeah,
right?
I was like, oh yeah,
They're
remember
married.
they love each other. Remember everybody? They're going to have this heartfelt moment. That felt very tacked on because I feel like when they were watching the dailies, they were like, damn, they don't really interact at all in this movie, and she barely does anything. We got to give her a big moment. Now, she helps him when he's in the probability thing as well. But, so she helps him multiple times. I just don't feel the love between them at all. I've had that same issue with some of the other Ant-Man movies. It's easy to overlook, but in this one, I felt it extra.
I think she's almost a little too perfect.
Yeah, she doesn't really have any flaws.
No, I mean she's fucking running she's a successful businesswoman.
What they say, she's solving homelessness.
Yeah,
and the housing
she's
crisis,
and she's a badass as Wasp. Like even in the probability storm, it didn't really affect her. She was like, like she is so competent. All of her different versions are like, we got this.
That's fair. No, that is fair.
I just think she's kind of forgettable. Like I mean, like I said, I had to remember her name after watching a YouTube video last night, and it's not because I don't like her. It's just because she's kind of forgettable.
Yeah, I think out of the whole family, she's the easiest one to like not really think about in this movie at all.
And I think that's an effect of having so many good characters together. And in a 2-hour movie at that, trying to also give a new villain like the spotlight. I think she's probably one of those that fell through the cracks. How do you guys feel about our guy Michael Douglas as Hank Pym?
I've loved him since I was a little kid. So even though he's like not the best in that, I mean, when I watch him in these kind of movies, I immediately think that the moment they yell cut, he's like, what is this dumb shit I'm doing? Like, I just feel like he's like, I was in Romancing the Stone, God damn it. Like he's made like real movies, but I think he's good. And I believe his relationship with the ants. He had the funniest little jokes. He's like, holy shit, this guy looks like a piece of broccoli. Like that's the hardest I laughed in the whole movie. I probably annoyed the person next to me because that killed me. The hard cut to the piece of broccoli going, oh, come on, man. Like kind of looks at him like, shit. Yeah. That was funny as hell.
Shit, that was good.
I did like also the way that he looked at Bill Murray's character. Like, oh, you had something going on with my wife.
Yeah,
I'm going to kill you.
Good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and also what happened to him? Like, that's the reason I said what I said earlier about Bill Murray's character. You see him once, he tries to turn on them, and then that's it. Like, what are we supposed to... Oh, also, while we're... Just to ramble for 2 seconds, while we're talking about funny little side scenes that I liked, I loved him making the little animal big to then just, like, fuck everybody up because it was sick of getting eaten in the drinks. Obviously, that spoke to me. I liked that little...
Or driving
little
the ship.
Yeah.
That was weird too.
It's like
but a
stuffing
good
turkey.
kind of weird.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and chime in on this Michael Douglas love because when he shows up with all the ants and he kind of just stands there, I was like, damn, that's a badass superhero pose.
They kind of gave him his superhero moment. He didn't really have that in the other movies, and that felt really good.
And there was a moment where I was like, you know what? This is not a good look if the new big baddie is getting his ass beat by some ants. I will admit for a moment, I was like, damn, some ants gonna beat Kang? Damn.
Hyper intelligent ants.
You're right. Those are a different caliber of ants right there. Those are some A-list
And
ants.
I did like the little callbacks because there were moments during the movie where he was like grabbing his ear I didn't recognize it at first. Or it pieced together nicely at the end.
It did.
I was like, someone get Michael Douglas's hearing aid fixed, damn it. All right, y'all left this on the cutting room floor. Okay, all right. Speaking of newcomers, Catherine Newton as Cassie Lang, Scott Lang's daughter. How do we feel about her? Any memorable scenes that come to mind?
I mean, I think she did as good of a job as possible as like a new character in a role like that. I mean, I do think it's a little. I think they sort of have to cram her story and leave a lot up to. You have to just sort of make it up. It's like, oh, okay, she protests and she's like a person of the people, which I like, and she does this, she does that. It really doesn't give you any actual. You don't really have a lot of time to know much about her. You're sort of just thrust into it, which I think in any movie that does it a disservice to any character. But I think with the time she had, pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I think for the most part, she was just kind of there. And once again, it's just like seeing like, the chess pieces like, okay, well, if they're doing anything Young Avengers, this is the intro for her. Maybe we'll see more of her character fleshed out in the other movies.
If anything, a little too confident.
Her speech to MODOK, telling him to not be a dick, was so weird to me. I was like, this
you
man
should not be cursing.
I was like, this man has haunted you since, you've apparently been, affected by this man that tried to kill you at 6 years old, is still trying to kill you. That speech just kind of took me out of the movie where it was like, oh, that's right, this is a Disney movie. It's still like, it's not a PG-13 movie, I think, but, it just felt like real, like, kind of like PG. It was like, that's a kind of corny
and her speech to the people of why they should revolt. And...
Oh yeah, her speech was mad weak. If I was one of them, I'd be like, I don't know if I'm gonna risk my life for her. All right, nah.
Well, I did. There was one kind of cute moment that I liked when she broke the one chick out of jail.
Yeah,
and she was like, "Wow, she's so badass,"
yeah,
or
I
something
did
like that. I liked that little part.
I did like her admiration because it kind of you see like, man, she's got it in her to be a badass superheroine, and she's like idolizing, like like. If they use this as a callback to her later on, you're like, oh, this makes sense why she's so, adamant, so driven and all things like that. I just had a random idea pop in my head, but speaking about just weird alien life forms in this, there was plenty of them. And one bringing up the little dessert turned, giant creature reminded me that something about those living houses really tickled me. And I thought that was a really
the one that was cradling the other one that was like hurt at the end. I really felt bad for them.
That's way too cute.
Well, and also another great joke is he was like, oh my God, your buildings are alive. And they go, are yours dead? Like they're like shocked that he is surprised that their buildings are also alive. That's a great joke.
I almost ran up to the house hugging it. It's okay, buddy. I love you. Yeah, something about those houses coming back at the end and kicking ass. It's like, damn, that's why you invest and that's why you get liquidation in the house, right?
I can't believe y'all haven't mentioned the book and the podcast.
Had I been sitting directly next to Botter,
he would have elbowed me a few times.
The moment he was listening to his own book in the car, I would have been like, damn, Botter. We've all done it.
I was waiting for Scott to say, no, I'm just listening back for QA. I got to make sure it sounds good. I was waiting for that excuse. But I wanted to say...
It's funny you say that because that's what I said in my head. Oh, Butter does that for QA.
Yeah, I got it. It's the card test, right? You got to like make sure that and I learned it from my buddy Greg, who produces music. He always listens to his music in the car. Yeah. Now, granted, it's not his voice he's listening back to. It's his baby he's creating, but whatever. I'm sticking by it, all right? Sometimes you gotta listen
I mean, most people, Butter, don't like laugh hysterically at their own jokes the way you do, but other than that...
Most people don't talk back to them like, oh, buddy, that was a good one. Anyways, what I wanted to say, yes, the podcast thing was really fun. And that's what I'm saying. Paul Rudd is so fucking lovable, man. He's so funny. And I love those scenes. Like even at the end where he's doing his walkthrough and, it's the bug guy. You're the other bug guy.
He's reading his book to the crowd. I liked that.
He is so endearing. Yeah, that book reading scene was so good. I was like, damn, if Paul Rudd is reading a book at a Barnes & Noble, I'm going to go check it out. But I wanted to say that book in the movie, Look Out for the Little Guy, is a real book you can purchase. It's on Amazon.
Are you serious?
Of course it is.
They got it right here.
Disney.
Scott Lang, Look Out for the Little Guy.
That is great marketing.
Yeah, right.
I know y'all don't need that money, man. Y'all got to spend that on the MODOK CGI. Come on.
And check this out. They actually have a blurb from Bruce Banner. It says, quote, introduces the man behind the hero and the hero I call friend. Bruce Banner, fellow Avenger. Once again, great marketing. I thought this was a nice touch.
Am I Hulk's baby? I love that little snippet.
Well, I also liked when Michael Douglas is when Hank reveals to Scott that he's read the book and he's like, I read every single goddamn word. Something about that delivery had me fucking rolling. All right, let me take a look at my notes. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. You know, there's a listener right now that's like, how could y'all not talk about,
It's true.
you know, this? All right, fix things so fast. Council of Kangs. Talked about the trailers. We talked the end credit scenes. We already both got hype over Jonathan Majors. I'm excited for what he does with Kang being a repetitive or a villain that we haven't seen the end of. And the fact that we can see him in so many different shades. Me and Blythe were talking about how it feels like Jonathan Majors had just kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, maybe I just don't watch enough TV to really have seen his rise. I know that he was really well loved and people loved his performance in Lovecraft Country. And, you know, sometimes it's like all you need is that HBO series to put you on the map.
I've literally never seen him in anything other than the Creed trailer. So that is, you know, for what it's worth, that I think that is even more proof of how good he was, because it's not like I went in with any sort of like, oh, I love this guy, you know, and he completely stole the show for me in like an absurd way.
Where is he from? Do we know?
I swear to God, if he is another British bloke that is over here taking American jobs, God damn it. Let's see. All right, Jonathan Majors movie and TV shows. He was in that airplane movie, Devotion, that came out last year. The Harder They Fall, that's the other. All right, the Netflix series, of course, which he was great in. I haven't seen Lovecraft Country myself personally. Of course, he was in Loki.
Oh, he was in White Boy Rick. I saw that.
And The Five Bloods as well, and Jungle Land. All right, he is American. I'm going to round of applause for that. Round of applause for that. Thank God. Oh. Or is he acting?
Where is he from?
Just to clarify, we would still love him no matter where he was from. Don't worry about what Botter's saying.
Well, absolutely. I mean,
glad we got another one over on the
Yeah,
Brits.
exactly. I'm tired of being fooled by British actors with perfect fucking
because they
American
can do an American accent perfectly, and all of our people suck at British accents. What's up with that,
bro? You want to know who I almost fucking blew a gasket realizing? Oh, they're fucking they're British.
I want to know.
It was from fucking Last of Us. The girl that plays Ely, Bella Ramsey.
Oh.
Which I should have known that she's British because she played in Game of Thrones and 99% of them are from England or from that area.
UK.
But when they showed the HBO post episode scene, into the episode for one of the Last of Us episodes, she's like, yeah, so really? No, that was a terrible fucking British accent.
No, Botter, do your British accent for the show.
Yeah, so Ellie's like, damn, that's a Cali girl. I can't do it. Anyways, I'm being
Wait,
sidetracked.
is she Pauly Shore? What is this accent?
This is why Cesar needs to come back to the show. He would have nailed it. But anyway, for the record, Jonathan Majors is from Lompoc, California. The last question I'll ask you guys is that currently right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it has got a 48% for the tomato meter and an 86% audience score. I know that was something that was brought up on in the Twitterverse was how low the Rotten Tomatoes.
That is very low for a Marvel movie. That is that the worst score of a Marvel movie?
And that's by the critics. The tomatoes is by the critics.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the audience score is nice.
What was the last Thor movie called? I'm having like a big brain fart. Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder.
I think Love and Thunder was as low or not. I think Love and Thunder wasn't as low as this.
Do you think fatigue is playing a role?
I think
just like superhero.
If I just had to take a random stab at it, I think it is the similarities. Like, I think these movies are getting to a point. I think it is fatigue where it's like these movies are so predictable, and like I'm sure you have people watching this movie that are like, oh, okay, this is just the Star Warsification of the Marvel Universe, or this is that, and this is this. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are just like, we've seen this movie, we understand, we know what's going to happen. And that is fair. And I'm not going to act like I didn't have those thoughts throughout the movie where I was like, well, obviously this and obviously that. It does get to a point where you've seen this movie already. But I think if you're looking for a superhero movie to like wow you with the writing or wow you with anything other than the action and the visual effects, then what kind of moron are you? Like, I just want to be frank. Like, that is, you watch certain things for an experience that are not like, oh, this one shot was magnificent. Like, that's not why you're watching Marvel movies. So I think I'm a little shocked that the score is that low.
Thor: Love and Thunder right now is at 64% critic score 77%, audience score. So higher critic score, lower audience. Now, granted, Love and Thunder's been out for a little bit, but I think that was something I recall seeing yesterday was how low Ant-Man and Wasp was compared to Love and Thunder.
I would love to see its score compared to the other ones.
I think this might be the lowest one, but I mean that's not me. That's me not wanting to do all this homework right now on the fly.
We're doing it on the fly. I mean, this is we got the laptop.
Look, regardless of which, I want to just know from you two, how do you rank it? Do you think it falls somewhere closer to the critic score or somewhere closer to the audience score? How do you guys feel about it? What would you rate it out of 100%?
I would say a good 70%.
I was going to say literally in between the two. I was going to say between like a 65 to a 75. Because again, like if you like these characters and you like, this universe, then I feel like it's kind of impossible not to like it. What could you go into this and be like, oh, they should have done this, they should have done that? I find that, I am a little surprised by that. I really am.
I think for me, it's more of coming into this movie worried about, and am I going to have to watch everything else to understand what's going on in this one? Because I always come back to the rewatchability of a movie. And for a lot of the first, 3 phases of Marvel movies, the rewatchability for those movies is incredible.
Yeah.
They're on TV all the time.
Very high.
Anytime that they're on TV, we got them on in the background.
Yeah, you
and kind of do, work on the computer, you can do stuff in the kitchen while they're on. With phase 4 and now entering phase 5, I don't think that exists. I don't know that anything within phase 4 has been shown on network television outside of Moon Knight. I think Moon Knight was on ABC for a little while, and that's it. Other than that, I don't know what's drawing in the casual fan. And I think that's where I get a little concerned with like somebody like my dad who doesn't watch all of the Disney Plus shows. Is he going to go into a movie and understand what's going on? Doctor Strange is a perfect example of that, because my uncle didn't watch WandaVision. So he had no idea how she turned. And then he goes in to watch Doctor Strange and he's like, what the hell is going on here? And he hated the movie.
First of all, I just want to, because I haven't been on the show in a while, I just want to talk about how much I loved that movie. I thought it was that Doctor Strange movie. I thought it was so good. Really, really great. Loved WandaVision. Also, to speak to what Blythe is saying, I agree, because a casual fan that's like, people really like these Marvel movies, I'll give this thing a shot. They're going to see MODOK and go, what the fuck is this shit? Like, what is this Mr. Potato Head looking ass guy? And is this what these movies are like? I think this would be possibly, and this could be what the score sort of reflects. I think this is like the worst entry point to this universe of probably any of them that I've seen. Possibly Love and Thunder is in a similar camp. But I think just watching it, and if you even have a casual knowledge, it's very enjoyable and it's funny.
Your comment just reminded me, this is the start of the official start of phase 5 of the MCU, after what I feel was kind of a I won't say polarizing, because it wasn't that serious, but it was kind of like a lukewarm phase 4, I think, for a lot of people. I think,
but it's also impossible standards.
For sure.
Impossible standard. Well said.
So I went into this thinking like, okay, how are they going to set the tone for phase 5? And hearing you say, Warren, that this is probably not the best entry point, I do agree. I don't think it's the best entry point, but I also think this is maybe that line where it's like, okay, casual fans that think they can just jump in at this point, you're going to be in for a rude awakening, right? Like, we have now, this thing has got a lot of roots going for it. And, we're building off, clearly we're building off a lot of other things that have already transpired.
I would say I kind of disagree. I think that this movie, for me, not watching the first 2 Ant-Mans in years, I watched them when they first came out, and not really knowing much. I had to watch that damn video to even know some of the characters' names again. I thought that it was actually pretty well done, coming into like the quantum realm, which is just a crazy complex topic to kind of understand. I thought that they did a good job with it.
Oh, no, I agree with that 100%. I'm not saying anything about the quality. I'm saying I don't know if a regular fan could just like hop into this movie and feel like, appreciate it for,
I think this one more than some of the other more recent products, especially Thor, Love and Thunder.
I try to judge movies like this based on whether or not I could show it to like, my uncle who doesn't watch these movies, and would he like it?
Right.
It's like, you can't really just go to someone and be like, hey, they say to you like, oh, I've been wanting to get into Star Wars. And you're like, oh, here, just watch Rogue One. Like you, like literally they know nothing. Like that's a singular story, but like it's a movie that hits better when you know more about the stuff before and after. I think this is similar where if you just showed this to your uncle, he would literally be like, yeah, I don't really care for those superhero movies. They got some guy with a big head and tiny arms and legs in it.
And a lot of weird characters in this.
And like slug horses.
So maybe I take a little bit of that back.
Yeah, so it's just, I think it would really confuse a hyper casual.
Yeah.
You throw this on at Thanksgiving and most people are going to bed early.
I think this would confuse someone that doesn't really care for sci-fi, where sci-fi...
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
If there's someone that thinks Sci-Fi Channel's too weird, this movie probably is not for them, right? Like, there's a lot of weird shit. I think at the surface level, you could just appreciate it for a story about a family kind of like finding their way again. I think it's feel good enough, and there's enough action to keep your interest.
And it felt very Star Warsy.
Yeah, definitely. It's a weird entry point, and I think that is probably why the score is a 48%. But you heard it here first. I don't think that's a fair score.
It's nice to see that, the audience score is so high. I mean, I feel like that's been a trend lately where the critic score is a little more harsher than,
I would give it a little bit, though, because if you're seeing the movie like today, you're probably already a Marvel fan.
Oh, for sure.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's going to...
I mean, what the hell is like Gary at the Daily Tribune know about fucking... I mean, give me a break. Why do we even... I think
How many
we
holes
care...
does Gary have?
We care way too much about the fucking Rotten Tomatoes score. As a society, I do. I would be like, oh, I'm not seeing that movie. It has a 46. That's not fair.
Doesn't Amazon own Rotten Tomatoes, too? They were manipulating the Rings of Power
I mean,
rating.
What is the score for the Rings of Power?
I would like to know.
It's very high. They shut it down for a little while.
Because Black is about to have an aneurysm.
I mean,
We can go if you want to talk.
No, we don't.
It's literally it's like
for your own show, man.
I mean, it's the Elonification, bro. He literally built.
Ooh, look at this real quick. Lord of the Rings,
what
Ring
the
of Power,
fuck?
83
For the critic score.
For the critic
of
score.
course.
And the audience score, I've never seen the popcorn bin dumped over 38%.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's after they throttled it.
Sometimes I agree with the critics. The Last Jedi is an example.
I will bring it back to Ant-Man. I don't think the critics are too far off. I think what you said earlier about these movies starting to become like the
I bet that's what they
formulaic.
say. Read the top review, Botter, right now on the podcast. I bet they say this is a weird entry point and that it is a predictable story and
Here's
blah,
what
blah,
we
blah, blah,
got.
blah. But that's what they say.
Critic consensus. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania mostly lacks the spark of fun that elevated earlier adventures, but Jonathan Majors Kang is a thrilling villain posed to alter the course of the MCU. And I'm kind of okay to agree with that. I don't know about if it lacks the spark of fun, because I thought it was fun. I just thought it sparked any like umph or, anything new is what I'll say.
Sure.
Okay. Good stuff. All right, I think we did a pretty good job for
we did
first
great.
time
We
viewing.
did so good, everybody. We did it. We nailed it.
We're patting ourselves on the back for this one. All right, folks, those are our opinions, right? Those are our thoughts fresh off seeing the movie. We might have forgot a couple things. Maybe there's a couple scenes we overlooked. This is where you get to chime into the conversation and help us kind of cover any ground that we missed. If you agree or disagree with some of the things that we said, or if you just want to generally chime in if your favorite scene, favorite character, whatever it may be, I welcome all of it. Right into the short box, into our email. Shoot us a short email, to our inbox at theshortboxjacks@gmail.com, or hit us up on Instagram or Twitter. Send us a DM. Let me know. I could read it on the show. Besides that, I want to go ahead and thank my gracious co-hosts and movie buddies today, Blythe Brumley and Warren Evans.
You're welcome.
You guys got any shameless plugs before we wrap up?
All right. Well, I do mostly supply chain and logistics content, but it's pretty fascinating if you want to find out where all of your stuff comes from. I host a podcast called Everything is Logistics, and also another one called Maritime Means. You can find all of that, plus my socials, over at everythingislogistics.com.
I really wanted Blythe to be like, and another one called this, and another one called that. I wanted her to list like
Just
six.
drop bombs. Yeah.
As for me, I mean, look, if you like The Simpsons, you got to be following at Bart of Darkness on Instagram. You can see me, post my collection, open up the new Super 7 toys that they just dropped. I also have a podcast about The Simpsons called Simpsons is Greater Than, and I'm about to get back to new episodes starting next week. So If you are familiar with me and you want to know, or if you're not and you want to know more about me, you just heard all my stuff, so go follow.
But also don't hold your breath on that podcast return.
I do what I want.
I'm fucking with you. All right, well, there you have it, Shortbox Nation. Thank you for hanging out. If you guys enjoyed this conversation, if you loved the episode, share it with a friend. If you got another MCU fanatic in your life that you think would enjoy this, go ahead and share it. Go ahead and share this episode with them. And while you're at it, go ahead and leave us a 5-star rating and review. All right, you got this episode for free. It was damn good content. I know you enjoyed it.
Was.
You made it to the very end. Go ahead and leave us that 5-star rating review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We'll have a new episode for you next week, so come back to this feed next Wednesday. We'll be back. And besides that, take care of yourselves. Go enjoy your comics. And please continue to make mine and yours Shortbox. We'll talk to you next week. Peace.